Pleasure is called everything that gladdens us and makes our life pleasant. Similar to our twofold nature, pleasures are of two kinds. Since we are composed of body and soul, we possess senses, and our bodies have members, and pleasures belong to both spheres. Those pleasures that are experienced through the members of the body are bodily pleasures, while those that pertain to the psychological and spiritual realm are spiritual pleasures or enjoyments. For the most part, pleasures arise as a result of our activity, and depending on whether our actions have been right or wrong, they bring us consolation or disappointment. If the principles and aims of our life according to God are in harmony with His will, then there arise pleasant and joyful feelings and pleasures. If, on the contrary, our choices and actions are irrational and passionate, then we experience revulsion and hatred. A necessary element of life is our biological nature, a large part of which belongs to the sphere of the three senses. It is precisely through these senses that satisfaction and pleasure operate. The pleasures that captivate and tempt us more than others are related to our biological constitution and are located in the members of the body and the organs of the senses. Foremost among these are taste, touch, and smell. When we come into contact with various substances and objects, a sensation of sweetness is produced, which we call pleasure. To avoid abuse in this area, it is necessary to exercise discernment in due measure. If a person remembers his purpose and eats in order to live, then he keeps the pleasure that arises by the law of necessity under control. But if, alas, he lives in order to eat and leads an intemperate life, as sadly happens in our own time, then the irrational principle, which I am ashamed even to describe, takes the upper hand. There also exist ethical and sensual pleasures, the foremost of which are sexual attraction and sexual relations. Here arises an entire labyrinth of perversions. Here are the many trophies of the infernal serpent. The law of the reproduction of the human race, as a fundamental necessity in our present exile, becomes the strongest stimulus for attraction between the sexes. This is precisely what the devil exploits, forcibly offering unlawful pleasure, which strikes today's youth with deadly force. We have briefly described the causes of pleasure, and so that we may not lament the countless disasters that will befall us if we accept them, we are obliged to reject them. This applies in particular to sensual pleasures. However, there also exist spiritual pleasures, which inspire us and restore our strength. Spiritual pleasures are those acts and fruits of God's grace that bring refreshment and peace to the soul, enlighten the mind, calm the heart, console the emotions, and give us courage and hope in the difficult moments of life. What else, if not spiritual pleasures, are joy, peace, patience, forbearance, and everything that is born of love and compassion? All the fruits of self-sacrifice that flow from love are the sweetest spiritual delights and bring great happiness into our lives. There are also supernatural pleasures, which, though they belong to the realities of the other world, are given to us through God's mercy as a foretaste of the blessedness that awaits us. In this life, we cannot control or produce these supernatural joys. God's love bestows them upon those who strive rightly, for their consolation and encouragement. Some of these pleasures are peace of thoughts, freedom from passions, perfect detachment from the objects and ideas of this world, the resting of grace upon those who have acquired purity of heart. Such people experience the divine and dwell outside this world, beyond its images and sensations. These are those of whom our Lord said that He will manifest Himself to them together with the Father, and make His dwelling within them. Whoever wishes to enjoy the supernatural gifts and mercies should strive to fulfill the commandments, and he will see that the Lord is faithful in all His words.